Have you ever opened your eyes at exactly 3 a.m. with no noise, no reason, just a strange stillness in the air and a stirring in your soul you could not explain? That moment is not meaningless. It is not your body betraying your rest. It may be your spirit responding to a knock from heaven. You see, God does not always speak with thunder. Sometimes He speaks in silence. And sometimes He wakes us up when the world is quiet and the soul is listening. The clock says 3 a.m. and your heart begins to race. You wonder why? Let me tell you. Many throughout history have experienced the same divine interruption. Science tells us this is the REM phase of sleep, when the brain is alive with activity and dreams are most vivid. But my friend, what science calls coincidence, faith calls invitation. At this hour, you are closer to the subconscious, and the subconscious is the doorway to the spirit. God may not shake the walls to get your attention. He may only whisper, and if your spirit is awake, you will hear it. I have seen people try to dismiss this hour, brushing it off as anxiety or a bad meal. But what if that awakening is the Lord saying, "My child, I want to talk to you. I want to show you something, not tomorrow. Now, because what I need to say cannot wait." That is not a disruption. That is an appointment. And if you open your heart in that moment, you will find a peace you did not know you were missing. Some of you are seeking answers. Some are weighed down by burdens no one else sees. And when the world goes dark and silent, your pain grows louder. That is the moment when God draws near, not to accuse, not to condemn, but to comfort, to lead, to speak. So the next time your eyes open and the clock says 3 a.m., do not roll over. Do not silence your soul. Instead, sit up, breathe, whisper a prayer. Say, "Speak, Lord. Your servant is listening." That moment might be more sacred than any church pew. That stillness might be where your healing begins. That hour might be the reason your life turns around. When you wake up at 3 a.m., have you ever paused and asked yourself, why now? Why this hour? Why does my heart feel unsettled and yet strangely aware? My friend, could it be that this hour is not about disruption, but about invitation? Many call it the hour of the divine because the veil between heaven and earth feels thinner in that stillness. When the world sleeps, your spirit becomes more open, more sensitive, more ready to receive. That is not superstition. That is scripture in motion. In the quiet of night, Samuel heard the voice of God calling his name. Not at noon, not at dawn, but in the stillness. What if this is your Samuel moment? What if God is gently calling your name in the dark, waiting for you to respond? Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you let God speak without interrupting Him? When was the last time you truly made room in your heart for His whisper, not just His blessings? Maybe that is why you are here. Maybe this message is not by chance, but part of that divine interruption. And now I ask you, are you willing to say yes? Are you ready to let God interrupt your sleep so He can awaken your spirit? If so, would you let me know you are with me? Not just watching, not just curious, but truly ready. Type "I'm ready" in the comments or simply type 1. That simple act tells me you are listening. You are not just a number. You are someone God is reaching for. And your presence here means more than you know. Thank you for letting me know I am not speaking into the void. Thank you for letting me see your hunger. It gives this message life. And more importantly, it shows heaven that one more heart is opening, waking up between 1 and 2 a.m. is not always about restlessness. Sometimes it is a signal that your soul is stirring with something unresolved, a tension within, a quiet storm under the surface. You may not see it in the mirror or hear it in your daily routine, but in the silence of night, it rises. Fear, regret, confusion, unspoken questions. They surface when everything else fades away, and this hour exposes what we hide in the noise of the day, the decisions we delay, the bitterness we carry, the guilt we avoid. That is why this hour matters, because in the darkness, the truth is no longer blurred. You can face yourself, and more importantly, you can face God. He is not pointing a finger. He is extending a hand. The question is not whether he is speaking, but whether you will pause and respond. So many lie in bed trying to push the thoughts away. But what if the thought is not the problem? What if it is the invitation? You were not created to bury your burdens. You were called to bring them to the cross. And sometimes, the cross shows up in the quiet of 1 a.m. This is not the time to numb your mind or silence your heart. This is the time to say, Lord, show me what I need to confront. Reveal what I have tried to hide. Give me the courage to let go. That moment, that hour, can be the beginning of freedom. Not because the problem disappears, but because you stop running from it and start facing it with God beside you. If you are waking at this hour, it may be less about sleep and more about surrender. I once spoke with a man who told me he kept waking up between 2 and 3 a.m. night after night. He said his body felt heavy, his thoughts restless, and though he was exhausted, he could not fall back asleep. I asked him, "What are you carrying that no one else sees?" Because sometimes when the body speaks at that hour, it is not just about physical fatigue. It is the weight of the soul pressing against the mind. That hour is not random. In that space between darkness and dawn, your body may be telling you something deeper than sleep. Traditional medicine links this time to the liver, an organ that filters both toxins and emotions. Spiritually, it is a moment where pain, resentment, even self-neglect rise to the surface. Some carry silent battles for years without speaking a word. But the soul speaks when silence surrounds. Have you felt it? That ache in your chest when no one else is watching? That pressure behind your eyes when you try to hold it together? God sees it. He knows the wound behind the smile, the exhaustion behind the strength. He does not wait for daylight to bring healing. Sometimes he begins in the shadows. King Hezekiah, in the middle of the night, was told he would die, but instead of giving up, he turned his face to the wall and cried out with every breath he had left. And God heard, not because his words were perfect, but because his heart was sincere. God added 15 years to his life, and that same God is still listening today. So I ask you, when you wake between 2 and 3, will you push it aside? Or will you say, Lord, I need healing, not just in my body, but in my mind, in my heart, in the hidden places? That hour might not be a curse. It might be the invitation. If you have felt that pull in the quiet night, would you let me know? Type I'm ready or simply the number 1. It tells me you are not just listening, you are present. And more importantly, you are opening the door for God to meet you right where you are. I see you. I hear you. But far more than that, he does. I once spoke with a man who told me he kept waking up between 2 and 3 a.m. night after night. He said his body felt heavy, his thoughts restless, and though he was exhausted, he could not fall back asleep. I asked him, "What are you carrying that no one else sees?" Because sometimes when the body speaks at that hour, it is not just about physical fatigue, it is the weight of the soul pressing against the mind. That hour is not random. In that space, between darkness and dawn, your body may be telling you something deeper than sleep. Traditional medicine links this time to the liver, an organ that filters both toxins and emotions. Spiritually, it is a moment where pain, resentment, even self-neglect rise to the surface. Some carry silent battles for years without speaking a word, but the soul speaks when silence surrounds. Have you felt it? That ache in your chest when no one else is watching? That pressure behind your eyes when you try to hold it together? God sees it. He knows the wound behind the smile, the exhaustion behind the strength. He does not wait for daylight to bring healing. Sometimes he begins in the shadows. King Hezekiah, in the middle of the night, was told he would die. But instead of giving up, he turned his face to the wall and cried out with every breath he had left. And God heard, not because his words were perfect, but because his heart was sincere. God added 15 years to his life, and that same God is still listening today. So I ask you, when you wake between 2 and 3, will you push it aside, or will you say, Lord, I need healing, not just in my body, but in my mind, in my heart, in the hidden places? That hour might not be a curse, it might be the invitation. If you have felt that pull in the quiet night, would you let me know? Type I'm ready or simply the number 1. It tells me you are not just listening, you are present, and more importantly, you are opening the door for God to meet you right where you are. I see you, I hear you. But far more than that, he does when you wake up between 4 and 5 a.m. You are not waking into darkness. You are waking into transition. The night is ending, but the day has not begun. It is the hour of threshold, the moment between what was and what could be. Many people think this time is for rising, stretching, getting ready for the physical day ahead. But there is something deeper here. Spiritually, this hour carries the spirit of resurrection. It is when the grave was found empty. It is when the stone had been rolled away. It is when hope broke through the silence of despair. And if you wake during this hour, It may be that God is awakening something new inside you. Not every awakening is about pain. Some are about preparation. You may feel a calmness, a still clarity that does not come from sleep, but from the Spirit preparing you to move forward. You are not where you were, but not yet where you will be. That space is holy ground, and what you choose to do with it matters. The temptation is to rush into the day, but what if you paused and asked, Lord, what are you birthing in me this morning? What mindset needs to change? What fear must be laid down? What dream needs to rise again? At this hour, the world is quiet, and so is the war inside. This is your chance to speak life over your future, to claim victory before the battle even begins. Jesus rose while it was still dark, but the rising itself brought the light. Maybe God is calling you to rise in faith before you see the outcome. Maybe He is saying, step forward, even if the path is not clear yet. Do not treat this hour like every other. It is not just a time slot on the clock. It is a symbol of new beginnings. When you rise with purpose, when you pray with expectation, when you step out with trust, something shifts. Not just in your schedule, but in your spirit. God is doing something in you that is not finished yet. So when 4 a.m. comes, walk into it with your eyes open, your heart ready, and your spirit awake. Because the empty tomb was not the end, it was the beginning. And for you, this hour can be the same. Let me ask you something real. If God woke you up tonight at 3 a.m., if your heart stirred and the world around you was silent, what would you do with that moment? Would you turn over and try to forget it? Or would you pause and ask, Lord, is that you? Because what you do in that moment reveals something deeper than habit. It reveals hunger. It reveals readiness. And that matters. You see, we are so used to rushing through life that we overlook the sacred interruptions, but those awakenings, those quiet moments in the middle of the night, are not distractions. They are invitations. God does not need loud thunder to reach you. Sometimes He just needs you to be still long enough to hear Him whisper. And often, that happens when everyone else is asleep. Let me tell you something I believe with all my heart. If He is waking you, it is because He sees something in you that is worth awakening. There is something He wants to do through you. But first He must do something within you. That is why He calls in the night, because the heart is bare. The noise is gone. And all that remains is you and Him. And now I turn to you and ask, are you ready to stop treating these moments as accidents? Are you ready to treat them as appointments? If something inside you is saying yes, then this message is for you. Not for your neighbor, not for a friend, but for you. And I want to know who I am speaking to. I want to know who out there is hearing this and saying, yes, that is me. I have been stirred. I have felt the call in the night, and I do not want to ignore it anymore. If that is you, would you do something simple but powerful? Type, I'm ready, or just comment the number 1, not because I need the number, but because your response tells me you are not just watching, you are engaging. You are stepping into the conversation. You are stepping into surrender, and that means something deep. It means I am not alone in speaking, and you are not alone in listening. It means we are standing together in this sacred space, even across a screen, even across a world of distance. And that simple act of response shows the heavens you are available. So thank you. Thank you for not scrolling past. Thank you for being present. And thank you for opening your heart, not to me, but to the one who is knocking at your door in the middle of the night. What if the reason you cannot sleep is because God refuses to let you miss your moment? What if your tired eyes and restless heart are not signs of disorder, but evidence of divine pursuit? My friend, there comes a time when the soul must stop running and start listening, and sometimes that time is 3 a.m. The night reveals what the day hides. It strips away the distractions. It exposes the silence. And in that silence, God speaks, not always in thunder, not always with miracles, but in the softest breath that says, I am still here. Some of you are carrying questions that no voice has answered. Some of you have prayed but felt like heaven was silent. And maybe that is why He woke you, not to torment you, but to reach you, because He knows the hours you pretend to be strong. He sees the moments you hide behind smiles and schedules, and in the stillness of night, when no one is looking, that is when He comes closest. The world sees the outside. God sees the ache inside. And in those sacred hours, He does not just observe, He invites, come to me, all who are weary, not when the sun is up and the crowd is near. Come to me in the dark, in the alone, in the weight you can no longer carry. I believe you would not be here, reading this, listening now, unless God had something specific to say to your heart. You may think it is random, but it is not. Nothing in God is accidental. Your sleepless night is His open door, and now you know. Now you understand that every hour from 1 to 5 is not empty. It is full of meaning, full of opportunity, full of God. But the choice is yours. Will you ignore it, or will you enter in? Will you turn back to sleep, or turn toward the voice that is calling you the next time you are awakened? Do not resist it. Embrace it. Pray, listen, write, speak, cry. Let that hour be your altar, because that is what it can become. And here is the good news. This is only the beginning, because the same God who speaks in the night also speaks through dreams. And many of those dreams are not random images. They are messages. They are warnings. They are promises. The Bible is full of them. Joseph saved a nation because of a dream. Daniel saw kingdoms rise and fall because of a dream. So do not miss what God may be showing you while you sleep. You are about to discover something powerful. You are about to learn the 7 types of dreams God uses to guide His people. You are about to see how animals, numbers, and colors in your dreams can carry meaning straight from the heart of God. So do not stop here. Go to the next video. Let the journey continue. Because if God is speaking, then your only task is to listen and respond. Let tonight be the night everything begins to change.